Hello, I'm Dr. Robert Clark. I want you to consider a startling fact, one that we in the medical community are becoming increasingly concerned about. Right now, 1 in every 3 adults over the age of 60 in this country is walking around with chronic kidney disease and has absolutely no idea. It's a silent epidemic. And what if I told you that the battlefield where this silent war is often lost is your own breakfast table? That seemingly innocent, healthy meal you start your day with could be systematically destroying your body's most vital filters. That first meal of the day is often loaded with hidden landmines of potassium, phosphorus, sodium, and nitrates, compounds that, in the wrong concentrations, are pure poison to aging kidneys. Today, we're going to disarm those landmines. We are going to talk about the 5 breakfast foods that may be silently destroying your kidneys. The first one will likely shock you, as it's often touted as the very picture of health: a tall, fresh glass of orange juice. Let me tell you about a patient of mine, Arthur. Arthur was a retired school teacher in his late 60s, sharp as a tack and committed to his health. He walked 2 miles every morning, did the crossword puzzle, and started every single day with a large glass of what he called sunshine in a cup, freshly squeezed orange juice. He came to see me for a routine checkup, feeling perfectly fine. But his blood work told a different story. His estimated glomerular filtration rate, or eGFR, which is our best measure of kidney function, had dropped into the early stages of chronic kidney disease. He was stunned. "But, doctor," he said, "I do everything right. I eat healthy. I start my day with pure fruit juice." Arthur's confusion is something I see every week. He was falling into a common trap, believing that what's healthy for a 30-year-old is equally healthy for a 65-year-old. The truth is, it isn't. His healthy habit was actually a potassium time bomb. Here's the science made simple. Your kidneys are master chemists. One of their most critical jobs is to maintain a perfect balance of electrolytes in your blood, and potassium is a major one. It's vital for nerve function and muscle contraction, especially your heart muscle. When you're young and your kidneys are working at 100% capacity, they can easily filter out any excess potassium you consume. But as we age, our kidney function naturally declines. The tiny filters, called nephrons, begin to wear out. For someone over 60, especially with even mild kidney impairment, the kidneys struggle to excrete potassium efficiently. A single 8-ounce glass of orange juice can contain nearly 500 milligrams of potassium. For healthy kidneys, that's no problem. But for Arthur's kidneys, which were operating at about 60% capacity, that morning flood of potassium was overwhelming. The mineral began to build up in his bloodstream, a dangerous condition called hyperkalemia. This can lead to fatigue, muscle weakness, and in severe cases, life-threatening heart arrhythmias. Arthur was essentially redlining his kidneys every morning before his day had even truly begun. So, let's make this practical. What does this mean for your breakfast plate? A safe daily potassium intake for someone with moderate kidney disease is around 2,000 milligrams. Arthur A.S. 1 glass of juice was using up a quarter of his entire day's budget in 5 minutes. A better choice would have been a whole apple, which contains less than 200 milligrams of potassium, along with fiber that slows down absorption. Or a handful of blueberries, which are even lower. It's not about eliminating fruit, it's about making smarter, kidney-aware choices. Look at the label on your juice carton. Even the not-from-concentrate varieties are potassium-heavy. The marketing shows a healthy, vibrant orange, but for your kidneys, it might as well be a ticking clock. I want you to ask yourself 2 questions tonight. First, what is my go-to morning beverage, and have I ever considered its mineral content? Second, am I relying on a health halo from my youth, assuming that a food I've always considered healthy is still the right choice for my body today? The good news for Arthur was that we caught it early. He swapped his orange juice for a cup of green tea and started eating whole fruits in moderation. Within 6 months, his potassium levels stabilized, and his kidney function stopped declining. He didn't have to give up his healthy lifestyle, he just had to update his definition of healthy to fit his age. It was a simple change that may have saved him from dialysis down the road. Our second breakfast food is another one that wears a convincing health halo: whole wheat toast. For decades, we've been told to shun white bread and embrace the wholesome, fiber-rich goodness of whole grains. And for heart health, that's excellent advice. But for your kidneys and your bones, there's a hidden danger lurking in many loaves of whole wheat bread that very few people know about: inorganic phosphorus additives. These are not the natural phosphorus found in the wheat itself. These are chemical additives used by manufacturers to extend shelf life and improve texture. And they are devastating for your kidneys. I remember a patient, Carol, a wonderful woman of 72 who was being treated for osteoporosis. Her bone density was low, and she was frustrated because she was doing everything right, taking her calcium and vitamin D supplements, walking every day, and eating what she believed was a perfect diet. Her breakfast was always 2 slices of whole wheat toast with a thin spread of avocado. Yet her blood tests showed stubbornly high levels of phosphorus, which was actively working against her efforts to build stronger bones. We went through her diet meticulously, and everything seemed fine until I asked her to bring in the packaging for her brand of bread. And there it was, buried in the fine print of the ingredients list: phosphoric acid. Carol was shocked. "But it's whole wheat," she exclaimed. "It's supposed to be the healthy choice. Let's break down the science of why this is so critical. Your body needs to maintain a very delicate balance between calcium and phosphorus. They have an inverse relationship. When phosphorus levels in your blood go up, calcium levels go down. Your kidneys are responsible for managing this balancing act, filtering out excess phosphorus to keep things stable. When your kidneys are compromised, they can't get rid of phosphorus efficiently. The levels in your blood begin to rise. In response, your body, desperate to restore balance, starts to pull calcium directly from your bones. This is why high phosphorus is a double-edged sword for seniors. It simultaneously weakens your bones, putting you at risk for fractures, and it damages your kidneys further. The excess phosphorus and calcium form hard, crystal-like deposits in your blood vessels and soft tissues, including the kidneys themselves, causing permanent scarring and loss of function. Now, here's the crucial difference that Carol didn't know. The natural phosphorus found in whole foods like nuts, beans, and grains is not easily absorbed by our bodies. We only absorb about 40 to 60% of it. But the inorganic phosphorus additives, the chemicals like phosphoric acid, sodium phosphate, and calcium phosphate found in processed foods, are almost 100% absorbed. That means the phosphorus from Carol's healthy toast was hitting her bloodstream like a tidal wave, putting an immense strain on her already struggling kidneys and actively leaching calcium from her bones. So, here is your practical takeaway. Become a detective. The next time you are in the bread aisle, ignore the marketing on the front of the package. Turn the loaf over and read the ingredient list. Look for any word that has EFOs in it. If you see phosphoric acid, dicalcium phosphate, or sodium polyphosphate, put that loaf back on the shelf. Instead, look for simpler, more natural brands. Often, breads from a local bakery or those with very short ingredient lists are free from these additives. A great alternative is a bowl of slow-cooked oatmeal or even a simple corn tortilla, which is naturally low in phosphorus. I want you to reflect on this. First, how often do you read the full ingredient list of the foods you buy, especially the ones you consider staples? Second, are you making food choices based on the bold print on the front of the package or the fine print on the back? Carol's story has a positive ending. We found her a brand of sprouted grain bread with no phosphate additives. It was a simple swap, but a powerful one. Her phosphorus levels came down into the normal range. Her bone density scans began to improve, and we halted the progression of her kidney disease. She learned that true health isn't just about choosing the right category of food, like whole wheat, but about choosing the right food within that category. Let's move on to our third breakfast offender, and this is one that many people rely on for a quick, protein-packed start to their day: Yogurt. Specifically, the flavored and Greek-style yogurts that dominate the dairy aisle. While they are marketed as a fantastic source of protein and probiotics, they can be a treacherous trap loaded with an astonishing amount of sodium. And for anyone over 60, managing sodium isn't just about blood pressure anymore, it's about preserving your remaining kidney function. Excess sodium forces your kidneys to work overtime in a way that can cause irreversible damage. I think of my patient David, a retired firefighter in his early 70s. David was a big, strong man who prided himself on staying fit. He had managed his type 2 diabetes for years with diet and exercise. His go-to breakfast was a large container of vanilla Greek yogurt, which he saw as the perfect fuel for his morning workouts. He thought the high protein content was helping him maintain muscle mass. But during his annual physical, we noticed two concerning trends. His blood pressure was creeping up despite his medication, and his urine tests showed increasing amounts of protein, a key indicator of kidney stress known as albuminuria. David was frustrated. He was avoiding salty snacks, he wasn't adding salt at the table, so where was all this sodium coming from? We pulled up the nutritional information for his favorite brand of yogurt, and his jaw dropped. His healthy breakfast contained over 200 milligrams of sodium. It wasn't as high as a bag of chips, but it was a stealthy, concentrated dose he consumed every single day. Here is the simple physiology. Think of your kidneys as a set of incredibly fine-meshed strainers. Their job is to filter waste products out of your blood while keeping essential things, like protein, in. Sodium acts like a magnet for water. When you consume high amounts of sodium, your body retains more fluid to dilute it, increasing the total volume of blood circulating through your system. This raises your blood pressure throughout your entire body, but it has a particularly damaging effect inside the fragile filtration system of the kidneys. The increased pressure physically pounds against those delicate strainers, forcing them to stretch and tear over time. When these filters are damaged, they start to leak. Larger molecules, like the protein albumin, which should have stayed in the blood, begin to spill out into urine. This is what was happening to David. His daily dose of sodium was literally battering his kidneys into submission. The practical application here is to be skeptical of flavored yogurts. A single serving container of plain, unflavored Greek yogurt might have around 60-80 milligrams of sodium, which is manageable. But the moment manufacturers add flavors, vanilla, strawberry, blueberry, they also add sodium and sugar to balance the taste. The sodium content can easily triple. What's a better protein alternative? 2 eggs. 2 large eggs contain about 140 milligrams of sodium, but they also provide high-quality, complete protein without the added sugars and additives of flavored yogurt. Or consider a small handful of unsalted nuts or a scoop of protein powder, one without added sodium, mixed into a low-phosphorus oatmeal. The key is to get your protein from sources that aren't also delivering a payload of salt. So, I have 2 questions for you to consider tonight. First, when you buy a food for a specific benefit, like the protein in yogurt, do you take the time to check for other ingredients that might be causing harm, like sodium or sugar? Second, where are the hidden sources of sodium in your daily diet? It's rarely the salt shaker, it's almost always in processed foods, even the ones we think of as healthy. For David, the change was a revelation. He switched from his vanilla Greek yogurt to 2 scrambled eggs in the morning. He seasoned them with herbs and spices instead of salt. Within 3 months, his blood pressure was better controlled on the same dose of medication, and the amount of protein in his urine had decreased significantly. He was still getting the protein he needed to stay strong, but he had stopped asking his kidneys to pay the price for it. It was a crucial lesson in understanding that no single nutrient, not even protein, exists in a vacuum. The entire package matters. The 4th category of breakfast foods we need to approach with extreme caution is one many people find difficult to resist: processed breakfast meats. I'm talking about bacon, sausage patties, and links, ham, and even the deli-sliced turkey you might put on a breakfast sandwich. These foods are a cornerstone of the traditional American breakfast, but they are also a triple threat to your kidneys, loaded with sodium, saturated fats, and, most insidiously, nitrates and nitrites. These preservatives are what give the meat its long shelf life and appealing pink color. But they also trigger a cascade of inflammation and oxidative stress that can scar and weaken your kidney tissue over time. Let me share the story of Frank. Frank was a veteran who, for 50 years, had started his day with 2 sausage links and a cup of coffee. It was a ritual, a comfort. He came to me in his late 70s with swelling in his ankles and profound fatigue. He could barely make it through his morning walk with the dog. His lab work was alarming. His kidney function had declined rapidly in just 1 year, pushing him dangerously close to needing dialysis. Frank was a man of simple habits and couldn't understand what had changed. "I've been eating the same breakfast since I was in the Army, Doc," he told me. The problem was, his kidneys hadn't stayed the same. The decades-long, low-grade assault from the nitrates and sodium in his daily sausage had finally pushed his aging kidneys past their breaking point. What was once a manageable stress had become an overwhelming, toxic load. Let's explore the science in a straightforward way. When you consume nitrates and nitrites, they can be converted in your body into compounds called nitrosamines. These compounds are potent drivers of what we call oxidative stress. Think of oxidative stress as a form of biological rust. It's caused by unstable molecules called free radicals that damage your cells, including the delicate cells lining the blood vessels and filtering units within your kidneys. This damage triggers chronic inflammation. Over years and decades, this constant low-level inflammation leads to fibrosis, which is the formation of scar tissue. Just like scar tissue on your skin is tough and inflexible, scar tissue in the kidneys replaces healthy, functioning tissue. This reduces the kidney's ability to filter blood, leading to the buildup of toxins, the rise in blood pressure, and the fluid retention that Frank was experiencing in his ankles. One of the most common and dangerous misconceptions I see is with products labeled nitrate-free or uncured. This is a marketing trick. If you read the label, you'll see they often use cultured celery powder or celery juice as a preservative instead. While this sounds natural and healthy, celery is naturally very high in nitrates. So, you are still consuming a significant dose of nitrates. They just come from a vegetable source instead of a chemical one. For your kidneys, the source doesn't matter. The inflammatory damage is the same. Therefore, the practical step here is to drastically reduce or eliminate all processed meats from your breakfast. It's not about finding a healthier sausage. It's about changing the paradigm. Instead of bacon or ham, consider a small piece of grilled chicken breast or a flake of leftover salmon from the night before. These provide excellent protein without the nitrates, and they are much lower in sodium. I'd like you to ask yourself 2 very honest questions. First, is the taste or tradition of a particular food, like morning bacon, so important that it's worth sacrificing the health of a vital organ? Second, what is one small, manageable step you could take tomorrow morning to replace a processed meat with a whole food protein source? Maybe it's just 1 day a week to start. The change for Frank was challenging because it was so deeply ingrained in his routine. But with the support of his wife, he started replacing his sausage with a hard-boiled egg. It wasn't easy, but the motivation was powerful. He wanted to avoid dialysis. After 6 months of this new regimen, combined with other dietary changes, his kidney function stabilized. It didn't reverse the scarring that had already occurred, but it stopped the rapid decline. He was no longer on a fast track to kidney failure. He took back control, proving that it's never too late to change a habit when your future health is on the line. We've arrived at our final and perhaps most deceptive breakfast food: instant oatmeal. This one often flies under the radar because oatmeal itself is a wonderfully healthy food. It's full of heart-healthy soluble fiber and is a great source of complex carbohydrates. But the key word here is instant. The moment you move from traditional steel-cut or rolled oats to those convenient little packets of flavored instant oatmeal, you are stepping into a minefield of hidden phosphate additives, the very same kind we discussed with whole wheat bread. And because oatmeal is often eaten in larger quantities than toast, the dose of these harmful additives can be even more significant. This brings to mind Eleanor, a retired nurse in her late 60s. Being a nurse, she was incredibly health-conscious but also very busy volunteering at a local clinic. Her mornings were rushed, so she relied on peaches and cream instant oatmeal packets. It was quick, warm, and she believed it was a smart choice for her cholesterol. She was referred to me when her routine blood work showed both declining kidney function and alarmingly high phosphorus levels. She couldn't understand it. She avoided dairy and processed meats, so where was this phosphorus coming from? We walked through her diet, and when she mentioned the instant oatmeal, a red flag went up. We looked at the box, and there they were in the ingredients: disodium phosphate and tricalcium phosphate. They were added to help the oatmeal cook faster and give it a creamier texture, but they were flooding her system with a form of phosphorus her kidneys couldn't handle. To recap the science in this specific context, it's all about bioavailability. The natural, organic phosphorus found in whole-rolled oats is bound within the plant's fiber, and our bodies only absorb about half of it. It's a slow, gentle release. But the chemical phosphate additives in instant oatmeal are inorganic salts. They are not bound to anything. As soon as they hit your digestive system, they are absorbed almost completely and immediately, creating a sudden, massive spike of phosphorus in your bloodstream. For kidneys that are already working at a reduced capacity, this sudden surge is like a factory being forced to process an entire day's worth of material in 10 minutes. The system gets overwhelmed. The phosphorus can't be cleared fast enough, leading to that dangerous cascade we talked about, calcium being pulled from the bones and the formation of damaging crystals in the blood vessels and kidneys. So, what is the practical, safe alternative? It's simple. Go back to basics. Choose steel-cut oats or old-fashioned rolled oats. Yes, they take longer to cook, but there are easy ways around that. You can make overnight oats by simply soaking them in water, or a kidney-friendly milk alternative in the fridge overnight. In the morning, they're ready to eat. No cooking required. Or you can cook a large batch of steel-cut oats on a Sunday and portion it out for the next few days. You can then add your own healthy, low-potassium flavorings, like a sprinkle of cinnamon, a handful of blueberries, or a few chopped strawberries. This puts you in complete control. Let's finish with 2 reflective questions. First, in your daily routine, where are you choosing convenience over health, and what is the potential long-term cost of that choice? Second, what is one breakfast habit you could change, starting this week, to protect your body's vital filters for the decades to come? For Eleanor, the switch was life-changing. She started making a big pot of steel-cut oats for the week. Her phosphorus levels returned to normal, and the strain on her kidneys lessened. Her story is a powerful reminder that the healthiest food is often the simplest, the one closest to its natural state. The overarching message today is one of empowerment. Your kidney health is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. By avoiding these 5 pitfalls, the potassium bomb in juice, the hidden phosphates in bread and instant oatmeal, the sodium in yogurt, and the nitrates in processed meats, you can create a kidney-friendly breakfast that nourishes your body without harming it. A safe breakfast could be 2 scrambled eggs with a side of berries and a slice of additive-free sprouted grain toast. Or a bowl of slow-cooked oatmeal with cinnamon. The first and most critical step you can take is to know your numbers. Ask your doctor for a simple blood test to check your eGFR and a urine test for albumin. It's the only way to know for sure how well your kidneys are functioning. Knowledge is power.